I welcome you to the Soup for Soul. You have a mind. It's the most valuable thing you own. It's the one thing you have every single moment of every day, from the moment you are born to the moment you die. But sometimes you may have experienced people say, "Are you out of your mind?" But let me ask you a question. What is it? What is mind? You can point to your brain, but that's not your mind. That's the hardware. What about the software? Is it nerves, neurons? No, they are still hardwares. What is a thought? What is a feeling? Where does it come from? And where does it go? Most of us go through our entire lives being pushed around by our own minds, following its every command, sometimes leading you to so happy moments full of lust, and sometimes suffering from its anxieties, sad moments, and depressions, all without ever knowing what it is. Modern science has theories about mind from famous Sigmund Freud, Wilhelm Wundt, the father of psychology, and many others. But what if the most practical, detailed, and powerful instruction manual for the mind has discovered more than 2500 years ago? It was verbally carried out and written into palm leaves books in Sri Lanka at Matali Aluvihari temple around 1st century BC, or before Common Era, to be exact 29 before Christ, during the reign of King Walagamba. In this video, I'm going to show you the clear definition of the mind as laid out in the most valuable ancient deep science ever in the history. And I'm not talking about just philosophy, I'm talking about a technical manual. So I'll show you what the mind is, where it arises, a secret about its speed, the power, and the beauty of the mind that will completely change the way you think about your life, the world, consciousness, focus, and your own chaotic thoughts. My promise to you is by the end of this short video, you will have a framework to understand the foundation of the mind, single failing thought, sensation you experience in a way you never have before. So let's begin. In the ancient Pali language, the word for mind is chitta, and the simplest definition of chitta, or in English, mind, is the knowing of various kind of realities, both ultimate and non-ultimate. Is that it? The mind is just a knowing. This sounds simple, but it's profound. The ancient science decode the mind down like this. It says the mind arises in the eye, the ear, the nose, the tongue, the body, and the heart base. Although it is an action for ease of expression, it is referred to as a thing with the strength to perform as a doer and an agentive power to know, and as if it were a substance with the instrumental power, like the principal of a school or president of a country. In this ancient science, mind or chitta has various other names in Pali. Cheta, Mana, Vijnana, Hadaya, Manasa. So, like a few words. When a material form comes into contact with your eye, awareness about it arises. We call this action as seeing, but its real nature is knowing or awareness. When something recognized due to contact with the eye, it is said that was seen or saw. Although the words are different, what they indicate is experience of knowing or consciousness. When a sound makes contact with your ear, the consciousness that recognizes the sound arises. What is indicated by the word hearing is the consciousness that recognizes the sound. Its nature is ear knowing, knowing arises. When a smell or bad odor come into contact with your nose, it is sometimes said that a bad smell is felt. Sometimes the word felt is not used and says it's smelly. On those occasions, what is indicated by the word smell is the consciousness or awareness which recognizes the odor. Sometimes, when a taste reaches the mouth, it is said a taste is felt. Sometimes it is said to be sweet, bitter, sour, instead of just saying a taste. On such occasions, the type of taste is stated by the awareness that knows the taste. When something makes contact with the body, it is said that the contact is felt. Sometimes the result of the contact, such as hurting, pleasure, or cold or hot, is expressed. On these occasions, those words express the consciousness that recognizes the contact. When an awareness or a consciousness occurs without a connection with the five sensitivities, in Pali we call it as pasada, it is said that a thought occurred. Sometimes words such as felt, thought of, needed, comprehended, understood, and realized are used. They all refer to consciousness or awareness. The facts being so, it should be known that what is meant by seeing, vision, hearing, bad odor, good odor, bitterness, astringency, cold, heat, idea, and need is called absolute truth in mind. In Pali language, it is called Chitta Paramatta. Some of these words give complete truth, sometimes in excess of reality, is called in one word in Pali Adhika Artha, which means some of these words also convey additional meanings. To think correctly, it is necessary to remove this additional meanings or adhikartha. In my first video, I talked about the act of the motion of a vehicle. The motion of a vehicle is a power arising from the vehicle itself. The act of raising the hand is power arising from the hand. Similarly, the act of recognizing objects and the act of grasping an object is called mind or chitta. It's a power that comes up at the end of a generation of a stream of consciousness or stream of awareness, just as sprouting from the end of a vine, as it receives fertilizer, new minds arise from the end of the mind stream, according to each object your senses impact with, and as it is received. So, consciousness or awareness occurs in physical bases such as the eye or nose. However, awareness should not be taken as something that arises from them. If consciousness arises from physical bases like the physical sensory bases, for example, the eye, when objects such as material form or sound impact simultaneously on several physical sensor bases, you'd think that several consciousness should arise at the same time. However, there's a natural rule to it, as two chitta or two minds cannot arise simultaneously in one mind base at the same time. It should be known that wherever the mind or chitta occurs in the body basis, it occurs at the end of a generation of minds. Some say that the main reason for the rising of mind or chitta is objects. Objects are everywhere. However, no matter how many objects are there, if there is no pre-existing conscious stream, a mind will not arise. Causes such as objects can produce minds or chitta only when there is an existing generation of consciousness. Therefore, it should be known that the main reason for the arising of mind is not objects, but an existing generation of consciousness. Since chitta or mind cannot arise without an object, object also becomes a strong reason for the rising of mind. Let's see lifetime of the mind. So you think your computer is fast, or you think a hummingbird's wings are fast. So let's see how fast the mind is. Earlier in my first video, I explained that action dies off immediately after end of the performance without leaving anything behind, just as lightning that arises in the clouds vanishes in an instant with nothing left. Similarly, the mind or the chitta is also an action. It does not go beyond such nature but dies off without lasting even a moment. Since the mind is also an action, it does not violate the law of nature belonging to actions. Each mind has three periods as period of arising, period of existence, and period of breakup dissolution. Uh, these three periods are equal in extent. None of them are shorter or longer. It is the nature of mind or mental factors called chetasika. I will explain about mental factors later. So, the nature of mind is to take the same time to arise as the time of existence, and the time taken to cease. There is no difference in time length among them. It is the nature of the ultimate realities of mind and mental factors to exist for the same amount of time it takes to arise, exist, and break up in the same amount of time. The lifespan of material form at its ultimate reality state, which is smaller than a nucleus or quarks, is 17 times that of the mind time. The rising of the mind is called upada, its existence is called tithi, and its cessation is called bhanga. These three time periods, rising, presence, and dissolution, are called chittakshana or a mind moment. A mind moment is an extremely short period of time. Two minds or chitta do not occur in one generation at the same time. A second mind arises only after the complete dying of the mind that has already arisen. So generally, you know how small of time it takes to snap the finger or bat an eyelid. The phrase in Pali shows that the lifetime of a mind is smaller than a billionth of the time taken to snap the fingers or bat an eyelid. So, no matter how quickly, how fast the risen mind ceases, the new minds arise, taking the various objects that are present in such way that they arise linked to the ceasing mind so that the place does not become vacant. New mind connected with the dying mind and leaving no gap arises by taking on various objects that come up. So, can you imagine how fast this is happening? Would you believe that there is no instance where minds do not arise in the mind stream in generic human beings, except for the state of cessation attainment? In Pali, it is called Nirodha Samapatti, the highest level of enlightenment, and the state of being born in an unconscious world, commonly named as Asanya Bhumi. Due to the very short lifespan of the mind, and the necessity for new minds to arise as if linked to this cease in mind so that no gap is created. What occurs at the place where the mind arises is a very rapid process. There is no other machine that performs a fast activity. Due to the very short lifespan of the mind, it has been shown that in a single continuity in the duration of finger snap, a million minds arise and cease, one after another. I know this is a quite new and hard reality to accept. If not now, perhaps it can be accepted only after gaining further knowledge about the nature of the mind. That's why I keep telling you to do more research about this gem. I wish that one day you may strive to reach that point. So, the varied nature of the mind. The world is very variegated. Its varied nature is the presence of an immeasurable multitude of humans, animals, beings different from one another, and an immeasurable number of objects like trees and rocks different from one another. Mind, too, is something that changes according to the object impacted. The mind focused on an apple tree is different from the mind focused on a grapevine. The mind focused on a mountain is different from both those. The mind focused on a sea is different from all three. As the mind horizon due to each object is different from each other. Different mind arise according to each and every object and people in the world. Therefore, mind is varied as much as the world is varied. Comparing the varied nature of the mind with the varied nature of the world is like comparing the water in the ocean with the water in a drinking tap. So, if I say correctly, a varied nature of the mind is billions or trillions of times more than the varied nature of the physical world. This is because the minds that arises on contact it of each object to are varied. 1,000 different mind occur in 1,000 different people on account of the same object. The mind that occur in 100,000 will be a 100,000 different minds. The mind that occur in the same mind base regarding the same object on 1,000 different occasions will be as many. Having explained this, it should be correct to say that uh, there is nothing as variable as the mind. The variegated nature of beings are because of the variations in the minds. This is why your mind feel so chaotic. This is why meditation is so difficult. And this is why you can feel angry, then sad, then happy, then bored, all in 1 minute could happen. You are not one single solid. You. You are a stream of trillions of knowing moments, rising and ceasing so fast that it creates the illusion of a solid self. So let's see the power of the mind. Although the mind is an absolutely subtle phenomena, invisible to the eye and cannot be touched by the body, it has a great power. All other things in the world are subordinate to the mind. However, a weak mind is subservient to everything in the world. It turned in various directions according to the various objects it is impacting with. The world of living beings exists because of the mind. There is nothing as great and valuable as the mind. For those without a correct vision of life, they conduct themselves, taking mind as the supreme self. However, for those with a correct vision, nothing appears as dangerous as the mind. All problems, wars, chaos occurs due to the mind. If there were no mind, what suffering would there be? That itself is called enlightenment or nirvana. It is the mind that makes a person a good person or a bad person. It is the mind itself that brings all happiness and prosperity to any person or for any living being. It is the mind itself that inflicts all suffering and all misfortunes. And there are natural minds that just keep this stream going, which are called the Bhavanga Chitta, or in English, life continue minds that we aren't even aware of. This is the nature of the mind, but its nature is not just fast, it is also beautiful. So, how do we even begin to understand this powerful, chaotic, creative force? There are obstacles in understanding the mind. All beings in this universe, other than those in the asanya realms or worlds in the universe, have a mind. They know everything through the mind. All of them also know that they have a mind. However, they do not know the nature of the mind. The world can be seen with the eye. However, that eye cannot see itself. take an example of a knife. Something else can be cut with a knife. That knife itself cannot be cut with the knife with itself. Similarly, known with the mind that knows and sees something else does not know its own nature. It does not see itself. To see the mind that has known something else, another mind must arise. When another mind arises, the existing mind is no longer there. Therefore, it is extremely difficult for someone to know the nature of the mind. As this science explains, it is quite difficult to understand the mind because the mind cannot see its own nature. To see a mind, another mind must arise, and by then the first one is gone. Even though it says difficult, it never says it is impossible. So you may have to make a great effort to find out the nature of the mind. The secret to know the mind is to know the correct path. The mind is not something that arises alone. It does not have the power to arise alone. So it has a secret companion. When a mind arises, there is a set of actions, like the characteristics of the mind, that become completely mixed with it, arises at the same time with it, exist together, and break up together with it. They are called mental factors or chetasikas in Pali. The ancient masters have stated that the characteristics of a mental factors have 4 points: rising together with the mind, ceasing together, and having a common object, and existing by depending on a common base. In explaining the nature of mind and mental factors, the masters present the simile of the medicinal decoction, the simile of the flower bouquet, and so on. I do not think that the nature of mind and mental factors, which are more processes and not substances, can be explained by them. The nature of mind and mental factors can be illustrated with an example like this. When a person walks from point A to B, or maybe let's make it easy, from home to a shop, uh, two other processes occur which begin at the same time as a person's action of walking exists together, finishes at the same time. These are bound together inseparably in any way and are completely mixed. So there are two processes here, uh, and one action. The person walking away from the house and getting closer to the shop are two processes, and walking is the action. With every step the person performing the action of walking it takes, he becomes distant from the house and closer to the shop. The beginning of the walking is also the beginning of two processes of getting away from home and closer to the shop. The continuing of the walking is also the continuance of getting away and closer. The stopping of the walking is the stopping of the two processes, becoming distant from the house and getting closer to the shop. The walking can never be undertaken without effecting the getting away and closer. Therefore, the walking from getting closer and away cannot be separated. However, the two processes of getting away and closer take place because of the action called walking. Therefore, walking or the action is principal or the primary. The other two are secondary, not principal. So, this is the example that I have used to show mind and mental factors. This example is also somewhat deep. Understanding the simile first and compare with the meaning later would better. So here the mind should be understood like the primary action of walking. The mental factors should be understood like the secondary two processes, becoming distance and getting closer to the shop. It should be known that just as the action of walking cannot be done without affecting the two processes, becoming distance and getting closer to the shore, which means occurring of the mind cannot arise without mental factors. It should be known that just as the action of walking cannot be separated from the two processes of becoming distant and getting closer, or the two processes of becoming distant and getting closer cannot be separated from the action of walking. Likewise, the mind cannot be separated from the mental factor, nor the mental factor from the mind. It should be known that just as walking, becoming distant and getting closer, begin together, exist together, and stop together, so too mind and mental factors are also rising together, existing together, and ceasing together. It should also be known that mind and mental factors exist associating one object, just as the three actions, such as walking, becoming distant, and getting closer, takes place associating with the object of person undertaking the journey. So, what have we learned from this ancient manual? One, the mind is not a thing, it is a rapid action of knowing. Number two, uh, this serial stream of actions moves at most unbelievable speed, trillions of times per second, which is why your mind feels so chaotic. Number three, the mind never rises alone. It is always accompanied by mental factors or chetasikas. We've just scratched the surface. This is just the basics or the foundation of mind. We have defined the mind, but the real beauty, the real power, and the real science comes from understanding other aspects as well. As today I speaks about the mind, so in the next video I'm going to discuss the basics of matter. So we have a complete foundation of mind and matter. So I will discuss the ancient quantum mechanics as described in this deep science. Just like atoms have a lifetime, this basic unit of materials also have a lifetime. How materials are made up of and their behavior like the quarks or energy packets. So let's dive into this most interesting topic. So we have just defined the mind, the chitta, but as profound as this is, it is only half of the equation. The real power, the true science of reality comes when you understand its twin, matter. And if you thought the mind's trillionth of a second lifespan was unbelievable, what this ancient system says about the physical world is even more staggering. So, in the next video, we are diving into uh, ancient quantum mechanics. So, did you know this 2500 years old science describes the exact lifespan of a fundamental particle? That it explains how all material in the universe is built from tiny, tiny energy packets like regions that behave just like modern quarks or flocked state of matter. We have just covered the software of your reality. Next, we cover the hardware of the universe. If you are ready to complete the foundation of mind and matter and see how this ancient science predicted, way more advanced than the modern science, modern physics, by 2500 years. Let me know by commenting matter down the below. It is one of the most fascinating topics in existence. And I can't wait to show you. And thank you for watching and strive to know your mind. Thank you.